Hello, my dears. So we're getting into Easter as a season, like 50 whole days. And this week at lifetogetherapart.com, we're talking about precarity. And like, I really only think about precarity, like, precarity is that word for like when things are delicate, something's given but could be taken away. Like, I have a lot of like strong intellectual, emotional, spiritual reasons for like why I think precarity is like something we have to make a part of like our lives, basically. But I just want to talk for a second about like why I think it's so important to live precariously inside a set number of days. And it comes from the question that I think starts the second that you're in pain or you know that what you have isn't enough. But it's the question, when is this going to be over? Like, if you've ever been in labor, it's like the first thought you had in the first second you felt a contraction, like, when is this going to be over? Even the language of pregnancy is like, oh, I'm expecting. Like, it's you need it to be done at a certain point in order to like manage the intensity of how hard it is to get there. And for anyone with special needs kids that they're taking care of, or aging parents they either are taking care of or can't be close to, or littles that they're just like, everything is too much. I just like want to make like a pitch for like setting a horizon. I read this book a couple years ago called A Century of Difference, and it was like a sociological history of the last 100 years, which is very interesting to me. And it was talking about, it was like kind of mapping cultural networks and what supports people have to hold them up. And I was struck walking away from that book that like, since the 1970s in particular, we've just had fewer and fewer and fewer things that like scaffold an individual life. And so the worse things get, the more people experience like shame that they can't keep their lives together. And the more they need to be able to honestly ask the question, okay, but like, when is this going to be over? Because our limitation is just like more obvious than ever. And one of the things the book was helping me have a little bit more language about is that like people, according to their class, lower class, middle class, upper class, broad sweeps, have a different experience of their horizon because of the answer to like the question of their resources. So people who are really rich, they have the experience of an unlimited horizon. Then the middle class typically have a more proximate horizon, and that part of what characterizes living with like an hourly wage, etc., is the inability to be able to predict too far in the future because there's too many variables. And like the narrowing of that horizon is really painful for all of us. And that's part of what the pandemic has done for some people far more than others, which is it limits our ability to speak confidently about the future and forces us to constantly live inside the uncertainty, the question, yeah, but when is this going to be over? And that's, I think, part of the wisdom of like, if the world can't set a horizon for you, that we have to set it for ourselves. Not because we're confident bastards who think that like the world should make us lucky again, but because there's so many choices we have to make, especially when we're fragile, especially if you're caring for somebody right now, especially when it's not just you, or maybe it is you and you're lonely and taking care of yourself is hard work. So this is my pitch for 50 days of Easter. It's like when we set a horizon, all of a sudden it's like we just get a little bit more breathing room to say, we will do the best we can with what we have inside of a community of like, where I hope we have each other and we can experience the presence of God, but like, I can manage 48 more days. I can learn to live beautifully inside of that. What I can't handle is the idea of forever. I hope that didn't sound unbelievably depressing, but like that's just how I think. It's how I think. I think horizons. So, okay. All right, my dears. It is Tuesday. It is day 3 of Easter, and I hope it is a beautiful, terrible day.